Today on Dr. Phill.
I believe that my mom killed my sister's best friend and buried her in the backyard.
A daughter's outrageous accusations.
You said you were passed around to your dad's friends at sex parties. Did this happen?
No.
Are her recollections real?
I have memories, and I have memories.
Or just her imagination?
Tracy is crazy.
Now.
You sit here accused of molesting your daughter and murdering multiple people. Is everybody ready to hear the truth here?
I need to know if this is real.
None of it happened.
Oh, my God.
No, you don't get to do this. It is not a response to say, oh, well, If you want to unplug, we're done. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've heard long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phill.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life. Take a look at all of these journal entries in front of me. Some of them written haphazardly on paper towels, some of them on yellow sheets. Here's what one entry says. If you ever tell, he will just say, go ahead and tell. I don't care. No one will believe you because you're just a sick little girl who no one will believe, and next time you try and tell, I'll kill you. My first guest, Tracy, says she started writing down these thoughts about 3 years ago after disturbing memories from her childhood began to surface, began to rush back on her. Thoughts and memories about murder and molestation, involving not just one, but both of her parents. So is this a case of repressed memory, or have false memories been created in this woman's mind? Now, her family says, yes, she is just wrong, top, side, and bottom. But Tracy insists what happened to her is real, and she is here to face her monster mother.
About 3 years ago, after the death of my father, I started remembering things from my childhood, abuse, sexual abuse. Until 3 years ago, I didn't have memories about being abused. My relationship with my father was always very close. I was daddy's girl. Dad was the fun one. He was the play toy. So as long as you followed his rules, you got to spend time with him. My father started molesting me around the age of 4 or 5. A lot of the abuse that I remember, it was violent. It was with objects. I remember my sister having the abuse done to her. I can remember my sister doing bicycle exercises in bed. She said, you need to do them too. We're making our legs strong so that Daddy can't pull our legs apart. I talked my dad into coming into my room because Kelly couldn't take it anymore. Kelly was suicidal. My parents would have their friends over, and I thought that they were just playing cards. And my sister explained to me that they were sex parties. I remember my mom walked in and she was like, what the hell is going on? And there I was, tied up. The men had been rotating in and out of my bedroom. I believe absolutely my mom knew that this was going on, and I actually remember my mom watching. I can remember one time in particular, my dad wasn't allowed to speak to me. I couldn't take the fact that my dad wasn't allowed to talk to me. I called my dad in and I said, Dad, please, and he said, you told on me. And I said, you told me Mom always knew about this. And he said, well, now I'm in all kinds of trouble. I said, all right, look, if you'll be nice to me again and you can start coming back in my room, but we have to make some rules. You can't hurt me anymore. You have to brush your teeth. The smell of corn nut breath made me nauseous. My mom was very jealous of the relationship I had with my father. I was in love with my father. My family states that they don't believe me and that it never happened. I'm being ostracized by my family. I blame my mom. My mom is beyond vindictive. She scares me. And I would never hurt her, but life would be easier if she were just gone.
Well, if being allegedly molested by her father was not bad enough, Tracy also accuses her mother of murder.
I believe that my mom killed my sister's best friend and buried her in the backyard. When I was 11 years old, this girl and my sister Kelly had planned to run away together. I I remember a fight occurring that evening, and I was hearing all kinds of commotion and screaming and yelling. I wanted to see what was going on. I ran into my sister's bedroom, and my mom shoved and pushed my sister's best friend. The back of her head hit my sister's dresser in her bedroom. I remember blood just coming out of her nose and her ears, and I think even her eyes. I remember hearing my sister scream. After she was already dead, my mom got my dad's gun out and had me shoot her in the head so that if the body was ever dug up, that it could be blamed on one of us kids. I ran back into my bedroom and locked the door. I remember soon after that hearing somebody outside digging in the dirt right outside my window. A family out there had a missing child, and they don't know what happened to her.
Tracy's husband, Marty, says even though his wife's allegations seem out there, he frankly believes that they just may be true.
I do not believe Tracy is lying about this. I believe in my heart that something did happen to Tracy in her youth. I believe that she was molested. Some of the memories that she recalls, they're so outlandish, they're very difficult for me to grasp. But the behaviors of her family members lead me to believe that they are hiding something. When Tracy and I approached her mother about the abuse, Donna seemed very well rehearsed. She didn't give a good reaction to the subject matter that was being put to her. I do believe that Donna has something to hide.
You actually saw a therapist in 91 and 92, and hypnosis was done at that time because she had feelings that you perhaps had been sexually molested.
Yes.
She was just seeing signs, right?
She said that I had all the classic signs of molestation.
And you denied, no, I don't, that didn't happen.
Vehemently.
So she did hypnosis with you, and I want to be very clear on what you've told us so far, because we took very careful notes. You said in 92 you began hypnosis and you recalled sexual abuse by grandfather and a date rape that took place in 1981.
Yes, yes.
So you did recall grandfather and date rape.
But the grandfather was only for a couple of days. I started off by telling him about the date rape, and his reaction scared me, and so the abuse of my grandfather went right back in. I just hid it again.
So you recalled it, but then it was gone again. Okay, but then in the last 3 years, things have become much more active in your memory, correct? With regard to molestation allegations, you say your grandfather put his hands down your pants and rubbed you, and grandfather and dad raped you.
Yes.
You were molested by your father while your mother watched.
I remember her hiding under the beanbag one time.
Okay, that you were molested by your mother.
Yes, I guess that's what that would be called.
You said that you recall your dad paid off people by letting them have sex with you.
That was one of my fears, and it was mostly the card buddy friends that would come over to the house.
Well, was it a fear or it's a memory?
I do like this. Yeah, I have memories, and I have memories. The memories that I guess I'm praying.
I don't get the air quotes around
the ones
the memories.
with the quotes around them, I'm praying to God are false. And when I say a memory, a real memory, it's one I have had for as long as I can remember. It didn't just come in this last little bit. I'm hoping that the other ones are false, and so we call them memories.
Her memories of the past have been in very vivid detail of times and places that I wouldn't think most people would be able to remember. But
I'm not
the common
saying
denominator.
they aren't. I'm just trying to get through.
Yeah.
So I have everything on the table here. You said you were molested by all your dad's military friends.
By two of them,
Okay.
And he brought. I have memories of him bringing people home from the bar, and me being blindfolded. Yeah.
Okay.
And him allowing them into my room.
But when you say that's a memory, you mean that when you're less.
I pray to God it's a false memory that occurred from the hypnosis.
Well, we would pray to God they would all be false.
Absolutely.
But are you saying you're less certain of that than you are some of the others?
No, I just really hope that those aren't true. All of the memories seem absolutely real to me.
Why would you pick out certain ones to hope aren't true and others you don't put in
Because
that
some I've
category?
always had, and they didn't just come in these last 3 years.
I understand. You said parents use card games as facade for swingers mixers, that you were passed around to your dad's friends at sex parties, that your dad and friend had sex with you at the same time, and that your dad had to do some medical repairs to you after the rape. You remember all of that?
Yes.
You took your sister's place to stop Dad from molesting her.
She couldn't take it anymore.
You had a relationship with Dad, and it came to the point where you thought you were in love and getting married.
Yeah, I didn't think I was getting married. We talked about the fact that why it wasn't fair that people that were in love with each other couldn't get married, that there were rules and regulations about that.
You have horrid memories of murders taking place.
Yes, I do.
And then your mother gave you a gun
Uh-huh.
to shoot this person in the head.
Yes.
And later,
You could have helped a lot, and you refused.
well, what could have happened did. We're here now, and I am here to help. And so I'm telling you, we want to ferret this out if you're open to that. Tracy says 3 years ago, she started having dark memories from her childhood of someone being hurt in her family's home, of someone digging a hole in the backyard, and of blood-stained sheets. As though that's not enough, you have horrid memories of murders taking place.
Yes, I do.
You have a recollection of a babysitter, Josie, being killed in your parents' home.
Yes.
Okay, that a friend, Craig, was killed and buried in the backyard.
He was the person that I first thought I was remembering. He's the first person that came to mind. I was very relieved
Okay,
to
but
find...
stay with me, though. Do you have a recollection of him being killed and buried in the backyard?
No. I don't.
Originally, yes. We've cleared that. We have found
And
Craig.
spoken
we have
to
spoke
Craig.
with Craig.
Okay. Foster child Betty buried in the backyard.
She was the next person that I thought might have been the child that was killed in our home.
Okay.
And through our research and stuff, we were able to locate her foster brother and found out she's doing okay.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I don't have a visual of the person that was
Okay.
killed in
Names
our
and
home.
faces have changed, but the way it all went down has not changed.
Okay. Well, Kelly's friend, Tina, was killed and buried in the backyard.
No, I was worried. She was my next one I came to, wondering if it was Tina. And so then I was on track trying to find Tina and make sure she was okay.
Then you had a recollection of Kelly's friend, Carrie.
Yes, then the next names and stuff, and since that time, I no longer say it was this person or it was this person. I say this person is coming into mind. I wonder if there's a reason this person is coming into mind, and then I want to check them out and I want to make sure they're okay, because either because of the false memory or because of real memories, I don't ever get a flash of the person it was.
Okay,
I don't know that.
Did I hear you say in the tape piece that there was a big fight and an argument?
Yes.
And then your mother gave you a gun to shoot this person in the head.
Yes.
And was the person already dead?
Yes.
So the person had already been killed.
Yes.
And you're saying that this was Carrie.
And I think it was my sister's best friend from the 7th grade, and Carrie keeps coming to mind.
Okay, well, is this a memory or a memory?
This is a memory.
Understand, we've been chasing our tail. We're putting faces and names to things time and time again. We have done quite a lot of investigation trying to chase these leads down. Ludicrous as some of it may seem, it's very real to her. The faces and the names have changed, but the incident still remains the same.
I understand. And then there was a dog killed, a boxer pug mix.
Yes, my dad's dog named Kong, and that came from a story that my dad told me.
Okay. I'm not asking the story, I'm just asking you.
Yeah, oftentimes he would come into my bedroom at night, and I think he spent more time in my bedroom than he did his own. And it wasn't always sexual. There were many, many times where we would just lay there and we would talk about why he was sad, what his life was like.
Okay. Well, Tracy and her mother, Donna, have not seen or spoken to each other in over a year. We're going to find out what happens when they do come face to face for the first time when we come back.
She's accused us of molesting her, of killing a child and burying a child in our backyard. It's ludicrous. These are crazy allegations.
And later, you believe that this woman has molested and abused you, that she has watched while you have been molested and abused by others, and that she has murdered people and buried them in your backyard. You heard them digging outside the window, burying a body.
Yes.
Why would you go to Thanksgiving at this woman's house?
My mother knew that my father and my grandfather were molesting me. My mom is very dangerous to me at this point. I think that she actually used a form of hypnosis on us to make us forget.
Well, that was Tracy, who insists her mother, Donna, not only enjoyed watching her being molested by her father, but also murdered Kelly's friend and buried the body in their backyard. And it's been 1.5 years since Tracy saw her mother, because Donna says she's fed up with her daughter's allegations. Take a look.
These are crazy allegations. Tracy was never sexually abused in our home. My husband never molested anyone. I am not aware of any sexual abuse that she ever had. When the kids were young, our family life was what I would consider perfectly normal. Tracy is having horrible delusions. I don't see how I wouldn't have known if something was going on. I was home with the children all the time. Tracy made it sound in the beginning as though I too were a victim, that I was abused, that I was too weak to stand up to Alan when he abused Kelly and Tracy. That's the farthest thing from the truth there could be. I am far from a weak person. I am a very strong person. I was a military wife who held down the fort when my husband was gone. I'm hurt, I'm shocked, I am angry. I was mortified. The things that Tracy says were done to her are horrifying. She's accused us of molesting her, of killing a child and burying a child in our backyard. It's ludicrous. I can't even begin to tell you how it makes me feel that she can accuse us of all of these things. It's ridiculous. I would never stand by and allow any of my children to be hurt or abused in any way.
I'm sorry for the circumstance, but I'm glad that you're here. You've been listening to the show.
Yes, I have been listening to the show.
So far, painful to hear.
I've found out more accusations that we weren't even told of before. We never had a dog named Kong, though that's the smallest issue here. Tracy was never abused. Kelly was never abused.
Dad never had a dog named Kong?
We never had a dog named Kong. Never. I really don't know what to say about all this, except it's just so ludicrous. It's so ridiculous. It never happened, any of it.
Tell me why you wanted to be here today.
This has been going on for 3 years. The memories have torn apart our family. I need to know if this is real. I need to know that there's not a family out there that doesn't have a missing child. I can't shake that memory.
Right. Regardless of how it turns out, if there's guilt on the molestation part of it, if it's false memory, it's never going to go away. It's a demon that we're always going to have to wrestle from this day forward. Sure. But we would like to find out for sure, one way or the other,
what is and what isn't,
and deal with it.
Right.
Yes, the healing process cannot begin until the...
Well, let me say to the three of you, there's some things I want to go through to set the table here, okay? First off, I want you to understand something from me. I do not believe that you are intentionally fabricating anything.
Oh, God, no. Thank you.
I mean, and some of this may be true, some of it may not be true. You say yourself, some of it, remember,
Right.
some of them, and we're going to try to figure out what is and what isn't. The truth is knowable. And if there has to be some accountability here by parties, be it your mother or others, then I want to deal with that. My goal here is to help this family, to have some healing here and move this forward. Everything you hear may not be what you want to hear.
That's okay.
But I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it, based on 35 years in this profession and based on a lot of work we've done to try to ferret out what's real and what's not. And it's going to be on fact-based decisions. And so I want to, is everybody ready to hear the truth here? Do you want to get to the truth?
Yes, very much so.
Are you good with that?
Oh, I'm definitely good with that. I want all the investigation. I want everything to
Do you
come
think
out.
that she's fabricating any of this on purpose?
I think that she began by believing it. I think that it has grown and it has grown. And I know there has been a lot of recent lying. And when we try and tell...
what?
Lying. When we try and tell Tracy, when anybody does, I couldn't help very much because anything I said or did was suspect.
Well, of course, because
Yes.
you sit here accused of molesting your daughter,
Murdering.
violently and murdering multiple people.
Right.
And of course she would, if she believes that to be true, then you would certainly be a danger, a threat. So you
I
understand that.
could
What
not
I'm
help.
telling you is, in my opinion, this is not
helped
some.
a lot. You could have helped a lot, and you refused.
I was
What could
told
have happened
not
did.
to
We're
call
here
you.
now, and I am here to help. And so I'm telling you, we want to ferret this out. If you're open to that, you believe that this woman has molested and abused you, and that she has murdered people and buried them in your backyard.
Yes.
Why would you go to Thanksgiving at this woman's house? And later,
I have no scars anywhere.
In your own
Scars right
admission,
there. I have never...
in our bathroom upstairs, I heard you say that you witnessed your grandfather fondling her on more than one occasion.
No, on one occasion, I witnessed my grandfather's hand in her pants when we were laying watching golf. I witnessed this one time ever.
I am here to help, and so I'm telling you, we want to ferret this out. If you're open to that.
I'm open to it. I have asked my family for help over and over and over, and you can't believe the responses I've gotten.
Dr. Phill, I was told not to call Tracy.
By who?
By Tracy. I was told not to call her. Was told that it made it worse when she talked to me. I was
You were
told
told
not
to
to
just
call
wait
her.
until I
Marty
got home to
from
speak
work.
to her.
Marty, she told me. She's told me to go to
I
hell.
didn't. I invited you to my home. I went to your home at Thanksgiving time.
I know.
I asked you to my home at Christmas. You didn't show up. You didn't call. I asked you to Colton's graduation.
You chose
did
to lead
not
the
show
charge
up.
of discrediting
You did
us
not
in
call.
every manner possible instead of coming to
I
her
came to
rescue.
your house after Christmas to see you, to pick up our travel trailer, and you disappeared to the casino 5 minutes away.
I didn't even know you were coming. The travel
You
trailer.
did.
I called you and
too.
told you that we were coming to pick the
You did
trailer
not
up, that
tell
we
me
were going
when
to
you
hunt.
were coming, Marty.
We
fact-
told you
the
the
fact of the
day we
matter
were
is-
coming.
Okay,
Is that
time out.
you're-
We have much bigger issues here to deal with than a
Absolutely.
travel trailer.
Exactly.
You believe that this woman has molested and abused you,
I do
that
not.
she has watched while you have been molested and abused by others,
Yes.
and that she has murdered people and buried them in your backyard. You heard them digging outside the window, burying a body.
Yes.
Why would you go to Thanksgiving at this woman's house?
Because that
Why
was...
would you invite her to your son's
Let me
graduation?
explain that. That was prior to. I don't know if the reason her reactions caused the false memories to expand or caused the memories to come in, but they have come in. They did not come in all at once. They started coming in first with just my grandfather. Then they started coming in with my father.
I understand.
That's when I started asking for help. That was within the first 2 years of this whole process.
Understand. We did go to Thanksgiving, but we hadn't give up on false memory either, and still haven't.
Okay, let me ask you something.
We hope it's not true.
Well, I do too.
And I did not think she was dangerous at the time. I did not know
You've answered my
what could
question, so
happen.
let's move on. Now, in fairness to the progression here, you have had some intermittent use with drugs across time, correct? In 94, you say recreational use of cocaine for a week. In 94, marijuana 3 to 4 times a week for migraines and insomnia. Then jump forward 6 years, cocaine recreationally, but just for like 3 or 4 days, you say. 05 to 07, methamphetamines 3 to 4 times a year throughout 05, 06, and 07 for 2 to 4 days at a time. Okay? All right. Then in 09, cocaine again, recreationally for a week, and methamphetamines intermittently. Okay? I bring that
when you
up.
say intermittently, yeah, like once a we average it out to be about once a year, once to
Okay,
twice
then
a year.
2012, methamphetamines for 2 days. So I bring all of that up, not to say you're a drug addict, but to say that can certainly alter your neurological efficiency, consistency, and the electrical functioning in your brain. And if you're dealing with memories, that can be relevant. It just is. Okay?
Tracy had also said that she was using the methamphetamine while she was having the memories because she wanted to bring them in more clearly.
Yes, that's in there too.
She also told me that
was for a
she
3 month
explaining away a meth pipe. She told me that she didn't know it was bad to smoke it, that she only used the pipe when Marty was too busy to get a line ready.
That is a lie.
No, Tracy, it's
All
not
right,
a
let's
lie.
take a break. Next, we're going to meet Tracy's siblings and find out why her sister says Tracy tries to accuse every man she has come into contact with of molesting her. We'll be right back.
Tracy is crazy. Tracy is attacking my brother and I.
I was horrified when I heard these allegations.
The stories were so outrageous and perverse. A made-for-TV movie isn't this bad. All of Tracy's allegations are preposterous.
When the memories first started coming in, those memories were of my paternal grandfather. I remember seeing my sister sitting in his lap, and Kelly was squirming, and she didn't want to sit there. And I remember that I wanted to sit down on his lap. And I can remember him taking and sticking his hand down the front of my pants. Didn't seem disturbing. I can remember it feeling good. He liked to see how many times he could make that happen, and he would do it too hard. And that's when I would get urinary tract infections.
You just saw Tracy, a married mother with 4 children, discussing what she claims is a memory of her grandfather molesting her. Now, this claim is in addition to her belief that her now deceased father also molested her and passed her around to his friends during sex parties. And her mother, Donna, murdered her sister's childhood friend, burying her in the backyard. Now, Donna says that none of this criminal activity happened in their household, and her 2 other children, Kelly and Craig, have come to their mother's defense.
Tracy is crazy. My sister and I were not molested by my father. My parents never had sex parties. When my parents' friends would come over, they would play cards, a game called Guts. It was some sort of a poker game that they would play for pennies. My father never touched any of his children. Never. Never. Nobody was ever buried in our backyard. Nobody was ever murdered. Her life was normal. Her life was boring. All of Tracy's allegations are preposterous. A made-for-TV movie isn't this bad. I feel like Tracy is attacking my brother and I to our core.
I do not believe that my father molested my sisters. There was nothing that rang true about what Tracy was saying. I was horrified when I heard these allegations. There was never any signs to indicate that any abuse was happening.
Tracy's stories are ever evolving and changing. First Papa, and then all of a sudden it was everybody she's ever had contact with, it seems, has molested her or used her in some way sexually. The stories were so outrageous and perverse, it was obvious none of it could be true. At one point, I couldn't talk to Tracy about her memories anymore because it was making me sick to my stomach. It's like a combination of Law and Order SVU and criminal intent. One of the accusations that Tracy has made is that I have tried to commit suicide multiple times. I have never tried to commit suicide.
I think Tracy is delusional. She has taken this just too far. It's destroying my mom. She's got to the point where she just can't deal with it anymore.
Tracy called me over to her house a couple months ago to offer me immunity. She informed me they've had a private investigator, and the things they had uncovered about me were horrendous, and that I would probably be in prison the rest of my life. I'm not covering up anything for my mom. None of this happened.
If I thought that these allegations were true, I would be fully supporting my sister, but it never happened.
She is very convinced of a big portion of what she's saying, pretty darn convinced of the rest of it. Kelly, what do you say about this? Did this happen or did it not happen?
No, none of it happened. None of it happened.
Show me your wrist.
None of what?
Show me your wrist.
I had them film my wrists, my whole arms. I have no scars anywhere.
In your own
Scars
admission,
right there.
I have never...
in our bathroom upstairs, I heard you say that you witnessed your grandfather fondling her on more than one occasion.
No, on one occasion, I witnessed my grandfather's hand in her pants when we were laying watching golf. I witnessed this one time ever, and she didn't even
Which is not
remember
okay,
it.
by
No,
the way.
it wasn't okay.
That's not okay by any stretch of the
This
imagination.
wasn't okay.
So then
This
it
was
did
probably...
happen. None of it's not true? Come on, man.
Okay, that one thing is true. Yes, that did happen.
What did you tell me about your wrist?
I never told you anything about my wrist.
Marty, you were there when she said that it didn't happen when we were kids, that it happened in Yuma.
Do I have any scars anywhere?
You said the
Tracy.
suicide, and you said you didn't know anything about it until she mentioned it. And you said that it was not from childhood. It happened when you were in Yuma,
Tracy,
after you and Bob had a problem.
You told me that it was when we were in Phoenix and you were kids.
Okay, stop. Wait a minute. Listen, no, you don't get to do this. No, hold on. Look at me. Now, if you want to unplug, we're done. It is not a response if someone disagrees with you to say, oh, well, or you're going to hear...
It's the first time I heard that lie, sir.
You don't get to have a little mini meltdown every time you hear something you don't want to hear. If you want to unplug, we're done.
I'm not unplugging. I'm bored at the lies that they're telling.
Okay, then stop the histrionics, look at me, and talk to me.
Okay.
It is not a response if someone disagrees with you, just say, oh, well, That's not a response. You're either going to plug in here and we're going to get to the truth, or you're going to hear...
It's the first time I heard that lie, sir.
There's a lot of allegations of lying going on around here, and you don't get to have a little mini meltdown every time you hear something you don't want to hear. If you want to step up and find the truth here, then you're going to have to plug in. And listen, I'm not saying anything to you that I wouldn't say to you if you'd been in my office 30 years ago and started those histrionics. I'd tell you, stop and plug in, or don't. You wrote me. I'm not the one that wants to get to the bottom here as much as you do. You want the bottom, right? You want the truth.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's what I'm trying to get to. Greg, did this stuff happen?
No, it did not.
How do you know that?
I remember the poker parties that were supposedly sex parties. It was a treat for me at home. I got to go into my parents' bedroom and lay on the waterbed and watch a little color TV. I remember the people leaving after the game was done. They never played very late. They never had more than a few drinks.
So you didn't see anything. You don't trust Kelly. You say she's been severely depressed. You think she's just simply not telling the truth? I'm asking you.
Yes,
you told me
abnormal.
during the break that she is an awful person, has been terribly depressed.
I didn't say she was an awful person.
Okay, what is it you say?
I said she's been very depressed.
And
her actions are very unbecoming to me of what I would deem a good parent to be in some of the things that she's done, but we're not here to dissect her. As you said, we're here to get to the bottom of a problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on point here.
There are many directive things that have led up to my beliefs.
Okay, but if she's not a reliable historian, then I would want to know that. If you know her to not be someone that I should believe and trust.
Well, her story has changed through members of the family. Now, I don't speak to Kelly anymore because of this, but the story that I just spoke of that took place in my bathroom upstairs is very vivid in my memory as the way it was told. There was also something there that she said that was very disturbing to me as I sought it out, and she wouldn't elaborate on it after I started quizzing her on it. And this, you really don't remember, do you? Now, why would you say something like that?
In reference to what? I really don't remember what I asked you.
Some of the molestation took place to her. You really don't remember?
I remembered him putting my grandfather, Papa, putting his hand under her pants. One time ever. And I told her about it. You know, I asked her at the time, she was little. I was little. I was probably 8. She was probably 6. I mean, little. And I asked her, what was Papa doing? And she said, nothing. He just had his hand there. I said, well, that's kind of weird. But at the time, this is late 60s, or early 70s probably, I didn't think a whole lot about it. And that's the only time I ever saw it.
The story
now,
you told
later,
me was
as
that
an
you were
adult,
scolded and sent away. And
that what?
You were scolded and sent away when you started to question it. And the next time you saw it, you just walked up to it and then left. That's what you told me.
That is not true, Marty.
It is true. That's exactly what you told me.
Maybe you've done too many drugs. I don't know what it is.
I'm delusional.
I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Okay,
but
well,
I know it's not right.
That's a rabbit trail I don't want to go down. I'm here to try to help you find what's real and what's not. I am fully convinced that, right or wrong, this woman is not making up things just to create drama. I just simply don't believe that. Now, you may disagree, but I don't believe that. We are nowhere near done with this story today. We have barely scratched the surface. Tracy insists her mother, Donna, is a liar and is covering up family secrets of molestation and murder. But Donna says her daughter's memories are a figment of her imagination. So who is telling the truth? Well, Donna agreed to take a polygraph test to put the matter to rest once and for all. You're going to find out the results tomorrow.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phill, she accuses her mother of sex abuse and murder.
This is a timeline that you have put together.
But where's the evidence?
What happened to the body?
It was just an unsolved crime.
She claims she was violated in high school.
Raped while on a double date with Denise. Denise denies that happened.
I would have to hear that from her.
Well, you're going to hear it from her. Joining us is Tracy's friend, Denise.
What will a polygraph reveal?
Please tell me the lie detector test results on my mom.
Are her memories real or imagined?
They are very real to her. I'm the last line of defense to this woman, mister.
You want to get up on your hind legs and bark, find out what the hell you're talking about before you are enabling this woman.
That's tomorrow.
We'll see you next time. So long. See y'all.
Today on Dr. Phill.
She swears her ex is stalking her.
Are you texting her 30 times a day?
No. He claims she's delusional.
You believe his family were watching you from the trees.
Add her mother to the mix.
He's nuttier than a porta potty at a peanut convention.
And let the blame games begin.
The only tracking I can verify is when you've tracked him.
How have I tracked him?
Like in Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
That song the kids sing in the playground go again? First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby in the baby carriage, right? But unfortunately for my guests, Leslie and Andy, their song goes more like first came marriage, then came the nasty email exchanges. Leslie to Andy, once again, you're the one making that rule which is hindering me from seeing my son. Andy to Leslie, don't try to fool me with your innocent victim crap. Everything you say is a lie or manipulation. Then came a physical fight, leading to Leslie's arrest. Then came a prison stint, CPS on direct dial, and a wife with delusions that her husband was bugging her phone and her in-laws were, get this, wearing camouflage and spying on her from the trees. Or was it a delusion?
I was married to Andy for 7 years. We recently divorced and we share a 5-year-old son. My ex-husband Andy is the most condescending, controlling person I have ever met in my life. The first time I saw the rage, he accused me of manipulating him into getting pregnant, and he actually raised a hand to me. Different ways that Andy was abusive to me was he put his fists through doors. He dragged me around the car by my hair one night, and he kicked me in my ass, and it was the most humiliating thing. Even at the very end of my pregnancy, he shared with the Bible study group that his wife was as big as a house. He was not sexually attracted to her anymore, and she was annoying as hell. I've never been treated with such utter disrespect and hatred in my entire life by anybody. In 2011, 5 police officers showed up at my house to arrest me for a prescription fraud charge. Andy had called the detective and tipped them off that I had done it, and I was arrested and spent a year away from my child. My ex-husband has primary custody and I have visitation. I want joint custody. I am the best thing for my child, but I literally hate Andy for what he has done to me.
Well, Leslie also accuses her ex-husband of cyber-stalking her, including tapping her phone and tracking her every move via GPS. Here, take a look.
I believe that my ex-husband is stalking me. He has used spyware on my phones and in email accounts and text messages. I believe that he has had a GPS actually hardwired into my car, and maybe even a recording device. So the way that he harasses me today is his text messages will come through, and there will be like 32 texts that come in all at once. There is things on my phone that nobody can explain, like I'm having a conversation with somebody in my house or in my car, and I will say a term like, oh, God, Andy is so bipolar. And the next thing I know, he's texting me. I am not bipolar. At one time, these mind games and harassing emails and text messages, they started to make me extremely paranoid. I feel at all times like I question whether or not I'm going crazy. I think that his ultimate goal is to break me down. If he can't have me, he'll ruin me to a point where nobody else will want me.
Okay, Leslie, let's just get right to this, okay? You think he wants you back.
Yes, sir.
So you think he's doing this to force you into dependency?
On him, yes, sir.
Is he stalking you?
I know that I believe 100% in my heart he is.
Is he emailing you and texting you
Yes.
20, 30 times a day?
Yes, sir, that is true.
What's he say?
Most of the time it's just degrading. Sometimes it's, he goes to, I'm a wonderful person, and it flip-flops back and forth so much. It's either I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread or I'm the worst thing that ever
was put on the face of this earth. You never know.
Well, Leslie's ex-husband, Andy, says she's delusional, paranoid, a bad influence on their 5-year-old son, who sent me a plea saying, Dr. Phill, can you get my mommy and daddy back together so they don't fight anymore?
Leslie has been accusing me of stalking her, messing with her phones and computers and spying on her. All this paranoia that went on for years. The mindset and the actions are generated by drug use. I decided maybe it'd be good if we go on vacation. I found this big log cabin. It was secluded. What I had hoped would be coming back together. Yet what happened was her stating that there's people spying on her in the trees, top of the house, people following us in cars. Our relationship got so strained and chaotic. I was just fed up with all the insanity. I love Leslie and I hate seeing what addiction has done to her. I felt I needed to be responsible for my son and prevent them from being together.
Good to meet you. Are you stalking this woman?
No.
Are you emailing or texting her 15, 20, 30 times a day?
No, I don't know why my texts go out, all divided up.
So you send really long texts?
Yeah, anything that's more than 3 or 4 lines will split up.
Are you in love with her?
No.
You're here because you want custody of your 5-year-old child.
Yeah. I'm here because I want the harassment and the ability to be able to parent my child without the fear of him or his family calling CPS on me or being followed or monitored by him or his family or CPS. And I want joint custody of my child if and only if I can get a job where somebody doesn't call and sabotage it, and I have a place to live where nobody is in control of taking it away from me. And if I piss my mom off just the right way, she's gonna kick me out of the apartment that I live in that I have to have in her name because I can't get an apartment with a felony.
How long you been in that apartment?
Since July 3rd.
Seems plenty of time to find a job. I don't have the luxury to sit on my butt with the responsibility of taking care of a child. I don't have a spouse to hang out and unemployed and sit and talk to the cleaning lady that I pay for.
I'm not sitting around my apartment talking to a cleaning lady
You
that
were
you're
at the
paying
house for 6 years. You want to pay the rent. You don't want somebody. Well, you don't want somebody kicking you out or controlling you, but you won't do nothing about it.
Maybe that's why your text messages break up into... It says we're changing sentiments here. He's got to be a different guy. Cause...
Somebody's bugging my phone. It's stalking me.
Well, coming up, Miss Senior Texas 2013 sounds off. We're talking about her mother. Her name is Myrna. She says she knew Andy was bad news from day one. But she doesn't necessarily get along all that much better with her daughter. But we'll hear from her when we come back.
The last time I was at Leslie's home, her phone just started pinging and pinging and pinging and pinging, and I said, what is that? And she said, oh, it's text from Andy. And I said, well, how many are there? And she said, 26. That's just ridiculous.
And later...
If I thought for a second I could get by lying to you, I mean, I'm not stupid. I knew that y'all would know the truth about all of this.
Leslie and Andy are the divorced parents of a 5-year-old son and currently battling over a number of issues. Leslie would hope to get to a point where she could have joint custody, but says, I'm not really ready for that yet. She says she needs to get a job and a stable home, but she can't do that if the interference doesn't stop. Leslie claims that Andy has too much control over their child and her involvement in the boy's life. Leslie also alleges that her ex-husband is stalking her by tapping her phone and tracking her every move via GPS, which Andy says is absolutely not true. We're going to add another person to the mix, Leslie's mother. Myrna also says Andy is a control freak who uses her grandson to get what he wants from both Leslie and her.
My daughter Leslie just divorced a narcissistic abuser. He will not leave her alone. Andy, in the beginning, did not want children, and I advised her not to marry him. Things got worse after they got married because Andy is incredibly controlling. Andy does harass Leslie, but I think he tortures her mentally and emotionally. The last time I was at Leslie's home, her phone just started pinging and pinging and pinging and pinging, and I said, "What is that?" And she said, "Oh, it's text from Andy." And I said, "Well, how many are there?" And she said, 26. That's just ridiculous. I'm never surprised by the things Andy does to Leslie. I do sometimes get surprised at the levels that he will stoop to. One minute Andy loves her, and the next day he's trying to throw her in jail by telling lies on her. When he gets mad at others, he threatens, he makes up lies. He never says it to your face. He won't talk to you face to face at all. He texts or emails like a 12-year-old girl. He has definitely threatened me that if I don't do what he likes, that he will withdraw my grandson from me. He's done that once, and it was very painful. He has turned on me with his texting and his threats. He constantly reminds me that grandparents have no rights in Texas. If you don't do it Andy's way, you won't do it at all. I've never had a conversation with Andy face to face because he's a coward, and he will only bully women over text. If I could see him face to face and give him a piece of my mind, I'd say, "You're nuttier than a porta potty at a peanut convention."
Well, you think he's stalking her?
I don't know, Dr. Phill. I know some horrible things he has done to her.
Like what?
Like, she got out of the hospital from having her baby on Thanksgiving Day. She didn't have any clothes. He didn't call her. He didn't tell her he was going to not come and get her. He left her standing there, and she had to call her hairdresser to bring her some clothes and go home because he had gone to Thanksgiving dinner at his sister's house.
What was the problem when she delivered the baby and she admitted she'd been on methadone while pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
And my son spent the first 30 days of his life in NICU being detoxed off of methadone with morphine.
And you thought that was still okay to do that to your wife?
You think she was okay doing that to my son?
No other man's going to do that to his wife who's just had their baby.
No wife is going to do what, what do you think about a woman that's using
I'm not going to validate what you've done. What you did was wrong.
Child.
It was wrong, and that's the way you do. You withhold and from the beginning you admitted. You found out it bothered her to be excluded, and you withhold your emotions from her. You've always done that. No. One day you love her dearly, the next day you don't even want to talk to her. So that was not right. That was not right. Sorry.
Well, you're welcome to believe that.
And I do.
Well, do you feel that you feel he had a legitimate complaint if he finds out that his child is born addicted to drugs?
I can understand his being concerned. I mean, he could have called me. I need you to go get Leslie. I'm upset with her, and I would rather not go get her. Don't just leave her.
Wonder why she called her hairdresser instead of you.
Well, she and I have been off and on for more than 20 years.
Your whole life?
No, not our whole life.
Well,
not our whole life.
9
You weren't
years
there our
I've been
whole
in y'all's life and the stories I've been told by Leslie before that, it started a long time ago.
Guys, this is about our child.
I agree.
This is not
But you
about
made it
who's
about
done what
stalking.
worse, because I have done some terrible things.
You made it about stalking, Leslie. I begged you to give me a polygraph. You picked the place, the time, the person, and the questions.
We've done
I'll
that
show
before.
up and pay for it.
We've done that before.
We've done that before, and you accused me and the guy you picked of being in cahoots.
And that's my fault. How?
I didn't say it was your fault. That's the reality.
I asked the question. I'm trying to find out what family situation this child's embedded in. You need to make up your mind about why you're here. You wrote me. I didn't stop your car on the street. I want to know whether or not this is some wild-eyed guy that's stalking you, trying to drive you crazy. I want to know if you're stable or you're not stable. I want to know what's going on. I kind of want to know what the hell we're doing here.
Yes, sir.
You told us you were here because you wanted custody. I said, so you're here because you want custody? Oh, not really. I just want him to quit harassing me and stalking me. So I start talking about that. And you say, no, wait a minute. I asked you if it was about custody. You said, no. It's about him harassing and stalking. So we start talking about that. And you say, no, you need to make up your mind about why you're here. You wrote me. I didn't stop your car on the street.
Okay. It was the cut downs between the two of them that I felt like I needed to say that.
Well, Dr. Phill asked me what he had done, and I was telling him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Y'all can tell your lies.
That is
You're
not a
welcome.
lie. You did that.
Are you tracking her?
No, but I bought 18 iPhones in 2 years before she got booted out. I've had to replace hard drives on 7 computers. She killed your computer. And said,
Why are you doing all that?
because she kills them all, and I got to work for a living.
Why does she kill them all?
Because she's tripping out on...
She thinks they're bugged?
Yeah.
And so she smashes them or something? Is that what you're saying?
She's smashed my iPhones before. She's cut screens off my patio because they were trick solar screens. Yeah. I mean, she's putting passwords on the hard drive. A whole lot of IT people don't know how to do that. And, you know, she's messed up when she's doing it, and then she don't remember what she put on there. Mm-hmm. But, you know, all of that's costing money. All that's creating tension. You know, I've been ugly. I've been accused of I'm the one making her use, but if I had that kind of power, I would make her stop. I've never stalked her, never followed her.
I'm asking you if you're tracking her around because, I mean, could be, I suppose, legitimate reasons for doing that. If you're worried about her well-being, if you're afraid she's getting into drugs, if you're afraid she's going to do something with your son. I mean, if you're paying attention to where she's going or what she's doing, I'm just asking: Are you paying attention to her? Are you following her life and seeing what's going on?
Yeah, and not physically going out and following her, nor have I ever asked anybody to, paid anybody to. But I want to know where she's at, where her head's at before my son's with her. Mm-hmm. You know, because we went with after the divorce. I worked with her. I was giving you more time with our child than I needed to or was told to.
Do you want more time with your son?
Yes.
But you did a total 180 flip. You weren't going to pick him up from school anymore. You were going to stick to the schedule. And that happened like that on a dime, which to me, with your speaking and all that, said you were using again.
We have explained that multiple times. Every time she had him, you harassed her. Are you going to take him Thursday night? And she'd say, no, 2 hours on Thursday night. Let me finish.
She wouldn't respond.
Let me finish.
Why are you two not speaking right now? You've not been speaking since you got here.
Would you like to explain it?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay, when we got here Sunday night.
Can I get the short version?
Yes. Leslie is on drugs, and she gets very volatile when she's on drugs.
And I'm going on national TV admitting to all of this. There's no other reason why anybody on the face of this earth would be sitting in this chair right now.
And later, paying it forward. How an 8-year-old nearly brought a soldier to tears.
It's incredible being recognized in such a manner. I look at it every day.
My mother is a narcissistic abuser. She was so mean and hateful growing up. My mother looked at me one time and told me that she hated me, and she repeated it 3 times. She looked me right in the eyes when she said it. That hurts.
When we talked to you in our initial conversation with you, you said that you had been clean since '09. Then when we fill out our initial intake form with you, you actually said, well, I did meth in October of 13. Then at another point in the interview, you said he reported to CPS that you were doing meth in October of 14, and you said, and that was true. Okay, then we did a drug screen on you when you got here, and you tested positive for meth and Vicodin.
Yes, sir.
So that's 09, 13, 14, and 15. You said you were clean since 09, but then in October 13, October 14, and October 15, positive, positive, positive for drugs. Those are the only 3 tests that I have access to. Every time you've been tested in the last 3 years, you're testing positive for meth, which suggests to me
I have a problem.
that every time you've been tested, that's 100% of the time, you're still doing meth.
And Dr. Phill, I don't know about the other the ones you're talking about. Me saying that I haven't used since 09, because even these two sitting right here know that that's not true. I've definitely been using since 09, or CPS would have never been involved in our life. I know that over the phone, there are times that I've been scared to tell anybody the exact truth, because I'm afraid that he's monitoring it and CPS is going to show up at my doorstep. But I have never been more utterly honest than I have with your staff. I said, but if you're asking if I'm clean, I would rather wait till I get there to answer the question. I don't know why in my head I was thinking that it's easier for me to answer the question if I'm about to go on national TV and admit to everybody that I'm using. And I have been brutally honest about what I have used and when I have used it. And I'm going on national TV admitting to all of this because I want help for me and I want help for my son, and there is no other reason why anybody on the face of this earth would be sitting in this chair right now admitting on TV that they are a drug addict. If I thought for a second I could come on this show and get by lying to you, I mean, I'm not stupid. I knew that y'all would know the truth about all of this, and there's no other reason why I would be sitting here today if I did not want help.
You say you want help, but then you got here and at 7 o'clock you say, I'm too tired to do the interview.
I was scared.
And so your mother says, you better do this interview, you little bitch, or I'm going to kick you out of the apartment and report you to CPS.
I did say it.
I know.
It's taken such a huge amount of strength and courage for me to come on national TV and admit to the thing that I know, the one thing that I know will take my child away from me.
You say that you're doing the one thing that would get your child taken away from you. You don't have custody of the child now.
Well, I meant
And the truth is, you may be doing the one thing that would ever give you an opportunity to have access to your child, is to stop this ridiculous self-destructive behavior and get yourself straightened out. And, you know, you talk about him tracking you, but the only tracking that I can verify at all is when you've tracked him.
How have I tracked him?
Like in Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was before the cyber stalking started.
You say he's accusing you of being paranoid and all of this stuff about his family being in the trees watching you, but you do admit that you at one point believed that his family were wearing camouflage in the trees, watching you from the trees.
I did.
And you're like crawling around.
No, I didn't crawl around.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Up this embankment of
It wasn't crawling, Andy. It was walking. No, you did everything in your power to make my paranoia worse, and you know it.
Okay, that's why I took you on a vacation.
No,
to
you
get
took
away.
me on a vacation to absolutely terrorize me.
Yeah,
the
'cause that
entire
sounds
vacation.
really good to me.
It is. You're just that sick.
The question is, what is the best for their 5-year-old son in the middle of these warring parents? What role can Leslie's mother, Myrna, play in making things better or worse? And what can Leslie do if she is ever going to turn this situation around? I'll be right back. The day's going to come where he's going to get old enough to say, my mother had a choice, and she decided to get high.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Leslie and Andy were married for 7 years, but during those years, there were fights that sometimes became physical. There were arrests, there was drug use, accusations of stalking, and in all of that, there's a 5-year-old little boy that, just wants peace. Andy, I don't know what your real thoughts or motivations are, but I'll tell you one thing for absolute sure, and you can go home and you can write this down and you can put the date on it and you can reference it in 5 years and in 10 years and remember that I told you this. You can win today in terms of having undivided loyalty and allegiance for your son. And it can turn out to be the biggest loss of your life. Because I will promise you, the day will come that that little boy will become a young man and he will say, why did I not have my mother in my life? And why, as my father, did you not do what was necessary for her to be in my life? What you want is for him to grow up one day and say, they got a divorce and there were some real rough patches, but my father did what was necessary to make sure that I had a relationship with my mother, and that was critical in my upbringing, and I will forever be grateful to him for being a big enough man to do that for me. And Leslie, look, I don't know how or why you have gotten into this situation. I know a fair amount of it. You have some ownership in that, but you're the one that has made the choice to do the drugs. You're the one that makes that choice again every day. And they're going to kill you. They're going to kill your family. They're going to rob your son of his mother. And the day's going to come where he's going to get old enough to say, my mother had a choice. She either had a choice to get high or put me in her lap and read me a story, and she decided to get high.
I don't want that.
If he had to tell a story right now, that's the story that he would have to tell, because that's the truth right now. You have not done what is necessary to get yourself in a position to be a responsible influence, a responsible presence in that young man's life. And now he may be the biggest jerk to come down the road in 100 years. I don't know. I don't know him. He may not. She may be a nightmare of a mother. Don't know. But I know this. You have a choice to make. And you can say, I showed up at court and I took that drug test knowing I would fail it and I'll never give up on my son. That's a great speech. That's a great speech. Those are impassioned words. But you still went home and got high, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I
did. I'm your worst nightmare. Because I don't buy manipulations.
I don't think you do.
So you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision that says, at some point, I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to stop complaining, I'm going to stop blaming, and I'm going to take responsibility for who I am as a woman and a mother, and I'm going to put myself in a position to be in my son's life. Now, I'm willing to help you do that. I am willing to help you do that, but you need to understand something about me. When I get involved in this, If you're going through the motions and trying to put a face on this, I'm your worst nightmare. Because I don't buy manipulations.
I think you do.
If I get involved in this, I never surrender to the disease.
Okay.
I never surrender to the disease. I'm not going to put you in some 28-day wonder program somewhere that you go down there and tell everybody what you want to hear. You know what? Everybody's a star in rehab. It's what you do when you get out. And if you come out and have to scrub toilets, scrub floors, wait tables, or whatever you have to do, and live in a shoebox, you do what you have to do to get yourself solid and become an influence in that child's life. And if he's got a brain in his head, and I believe he does, he's going to support that. Now, you may not ever like each other, and that's okay, but you can learn to co-parent. But you cannot co-parent if you are a drug addict.
Absolutely.
And there's Origins Behavioral Health Care, which, in my opinion, is the nation's leading dual diagnosis treatment center. And when I say dual diagnosis,
yes, sir.
You got a lot going on with you.
I know what it is.
It's not just drugs. A lot of what you're doing is self-medicating anxiety and depression that you've been carrying for a long time, in my opinion. I haven't diagnosed you, but I'm a pretty quick study. And I think there's a lot going on there. And this is located on South Padre Island and in West Palm Beach, Florida, and Vero Beach, Florida. And we'll make a decision on where's the best place for you to go. But they offer very sophisticated gender-specific treatment programs. They're very customized. They specialize in what you need. And they'll deal with the psychological disorders and the addiction. I don't know how long you'll be there. Because they work the criteria. You will be there until.
Yes, sir.
I guarantee you it won't be 30 days.
Okay.
But you will come back with your head on straight. And I assume you support this.
Absolutely.
I assume you support this. And if not, then they have to be out of your life.
Yes,
sir. You can have a relationship with this son, never see him again. It's called intermediaries. Yeah. But it begins with you. You've got to clean your own house.
Sir.
And what he does or doesn't do doesn't matter. This is about you getting straight first. Then you come from a position of strength as a mother, strength as a woman. We got a clear understanding?
Yes, sir.
And that means you go down there and you lean into this program. When you leave, there is no coming back. I'm going to give you one shot. You better grab on and hang on.
I will.
Fair enough? Okay. All right, deal? Okay. All right, coming up, you won't believe what an 8-year-old boy did when he found some unexpected cash. We're going to find out when we come back. On October 6th, Lauren, a college student, was running through a park in New York City. She had no idea she dropped her school ID, that is, until her professor called her and said, you know what? You're famous.
College student is the talk of Twitter thanks to Tom Hanks.
He tweeted a picture of her Fordham ID card after he found it, and since then everybody's been looking for Lauren.
She's Fordham University senior Lauren.
I don't have a Twitter, but one of my professors emailed me with a link to Twitter and said, you're famous.
Lauren says she was out running in Central Park yesterday when she must have dropped it. So, about Tom Hanks.
I have not spoken to Tom Hanks personally. If he has my ID and would like to give it back, I will surely meet him to do that.
This is really a full circle moment for Tom Hanks. Back in March, he lost his credit card and then tweeted, a guy named Tony found my credit card on the street in New York City and returned it. Tony, you make the city even greater. Thanks, Hanks.
Well, Lauren did get her ID back from Tom Hanks, and her roommate recorded the exact moment she opened a very nice surprise. Take a look.
Lauren, hold on to this. Tom Hanks. Oh my God. Look at the letterhead. Here it is. What do you say to him? Thank you so much. I will definitely hold on to it.
All right, Lauren joins us now via Polycom. Lauren, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm okay. We just looked at the footage when you opened that note. Nobody had ever seen that before. That had to be a surprise.
That was definitely a shock, a really pleasant surprise. It's nice that somebody's there looking out and giving stuff back.
Okay, so are you going to run through Central Park now, dropping stuff everywhere you go?
I think myself and the rest of Fordham University plans on just throwing their IDs all over the place.
Well, go study. You're in school.
I will. Thank you.
All right, Lauren, thanks so much. Now, this pay it forward kind of goes on, because when an 8-year-old boy found a $20 bill, he decided, you know what, I'm going to buy me something. Then he thought, wait a minute. He wanted to do something in honor of his hero.
Here at the Ohio Air National Guard Base near Toledo,
This is the 180th Fighter Wing.
Lieutenant Colonel Frank Daly still can't believe the honor recently bestowed upon him.
It's incredible being recognized in such a manner.
It happened at a Cracker Barrel, of all places. As the security camera shows, Lieutenant Colonel Daly entered the restaurant on February 7th for an early lunch. At about the same time, 8-year-old Miles Eckert came in with his family. Miles, in the green hoodie, was very excited. He just found a $20 bill in the parking lot.
Just sitting there?
Yeah.
Did you start thinking of what you could spend it on?
I kind of wanted to get a video game, but then I decided not to.
He changed his mind when he saw that guy in uniform.
Because he was a soldier, and soldiers remind me of my dad.
And so, with his dad in mind, Miles wrapped the 20 in a note that read, "Dear soldier, my dad was a soldier. He's in heaven now. I found this $20 in the parking lot when we got here. We like to pay it forward in my family. It's your lucky day. Thank you for your service. Signed, Miles Eckert, a Gold Star kid."
You've read it more than once?
I look at it every day.
Well, Miles, now 10, and his mother Tiffany are joining us via Polycom.
Hi, Dr. Phil. How are you?
I am well. How are you? How you doing, Miles?
Good.
That's a good-looking bow tie you got on there.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you certainly wear it well. So we were just watching the story about you finding that $20 bill and passing it on. I thought that was really a kind and big boy thing to do. What made you decide to do that?
Because it was the right thing, and that's how my mom taught me. Aww.
You and your family met with President and Laura Bush, right?
Yeah. It was fun, but I was also nervous because it was a president, and I've never met a president before.
Miles is going to be presented the Freedom Award from the Carolinas Freedom Foundation, and Miles will be the first child to ever receive that award. What do you all think of that? And by the way, I want everybody to know that Miles' act went viral, and he has raised $1.8 million for soldiers. How about that? Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.